Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Jessie. I am so thrilled to share with you today some information on stress management and, more importantly, how to increase your self care. I want you to stop and think for a second. Think about your to do list, okay? Your to do list for today. Go ahead, think about it for a second. Do you have at least a couple things down? Maybe a whole list of things? Where do you fall on that list? Are you even on the list? This is something that I find with a lot of my clients that they don't even make the top three important things that they need to take care of on a daily basis. I'm going to talk to you today about why self-care is so important, why taking the time to do self-care is so important. If you want to be great at your job, a great parent, an awesome friend, an amazing spouse, all these other things that are pulling from you, you are giving to them. The best way to do that is to start with yourself, self-care. Let's get to it. I'm going to share my screen with you and I will share my presentation with you. So, stress less and increase self-care. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Dr. Jessie Biondi. I run Be More Health Coaching in Baltimore, Maryland, and I am a certified health coach and personal trainer. I coach four main areas of health: exercise, sleep, nutrition, and stress management. And the reason that I hone in on those four areas of health are because I feel like they really play off of one another. As you can see, there's a spider web, and a lot of spider webs are hung up where they're connected to certain points of a steady object. Imagine that each component, exercise, sleep, nutrition, stress management, shoot out some of their webs, right? And they all interconnect and they make this beautifully strong spider web. But if one part of that breaks or weakens, the whole web can crumble. And the same thing holds true for your health. Take, for example, stress. If your stress is really high, that's going to probably impact how you're sleeping. It's also going to impact how you're eating. Maybe you're not eating at all, or maybe you're stress eating. Both of those things are, or all three of those things, I should say, will impact on how much energy you have and how much you want to move your body. And if you're not moving your body, you're not doing yourself any favors because exercise naturally lowers our stress hormones. So it has to all be balanced. They all play off one another. I want to start here. We're talking about stress, and man, has it been a year. I want you to think for a second about changes in your life or around you that have happened in the last year. What have you noticed? What's changed in your life? Have your emotions changed? I will tell you, with the coronavirus, they were calling it the corona roller coaster of emotions. I've been on it myself, as have all of my clients. My schedule's changed. How about yours? Who is a parent? I'm a parent. I have two small kids. I have a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old. And all of a sudden I've become a stay-at-home mom, worker, and a teacher now. I'm wearing lots of hats and I have a way different schedule than I used to. Habits have changed. Things have closed. Things look different. Our routines of visiting people are different. Our interactions are different. Even our thought process is different. What can all these changes do? For some people, it's been okay, but for a lot of people, change and so much change can cause a lot of stress. So, stress is the pressure or tension exerted on a material object. You may be that object, right? Stress is impacting you. Now, there's stress is a fine balance. Stress can motivate us. It's how we get things done. You have an assignment coming up, or you hear about it that you have. Think about when you were back in school. You have something due at the end of the semester. Well, you're certainly not worried about it at the beginning of the semester. And all of a sudden, it's the week that it's due. You might be a little more stressed about it. But my gosh, that night before, you are stressed out, but it is super motivating for you to get it done. Other stress that happens in our life, sometimes those stress can be too much on us, right? And it starts to impact us both physically and mentally. Physically, it impacts our sleep, our weight, our nutrition, and it can cause illness. Mentally, it's a fine balance again. Anxiety is when we rev up. Depression is when we can't handle all the stress and we slow down. We That's depression. There's a lack of concentration, and there can be a lack of productivity. The impact of stress on the body is just it, everything. Stress is it can shrink your brain. It ages you. Altogether, it ages your whole entire body, but it can especially age your heart. It can lead to high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high blood sugars, high heart rate, all things that we want to try to avoid. We want to also protect ourselves. Stress can weaken the bones. It can make you sick. It can make you fat. It can lead to diabetes. It's bad for your gut. A lot of ulcers, reflux, irritable bowel syndrome. It can suppress your sleep, as I said before, and it can even suppress your sex life. So, or your sex drive. These are things to think about, because why are we talking about stress then? Well, we want to learn how to do self-care, manage stress, and you can think of it this way. It's preventative medicine. It's preventative medicine. I am all about teaching people how to learn skills instead of have to take pills. So instead of having to take blood pressure medication every single day, what if you could learn the skills necessary to keep your blood pressure lower, to reduce the stress in your life? So where does stress come from? I'm bopping myself around if you see me moving. Where does stress come from? Well, stress comes from a lot of different places. Stress can come from loss. Stress can come from perception of time. All of these have happened through the pandemic. Stress can come from health, a huge one. Stress can come from money. This has always been an issue. Stress, as much as we love our families, stress can come from our families. And it can also come from perceptions of responsibilities or priorities or work, how you are prioritizing things. So I want to talk to you about one of the ways I like to think about self-care. Fill up your cup. So let me explain. This is you, a cup. You'll never look at yourself the same. This cup right now is full, right? Now imagine that I've done self-care, and we'll get to what self-care is in a second, but I've done some self-care. I've taken care of myself. I've filled up my cup. And I'm now able to give some of myself to, and I could pour this into the cup over here for my kids, and a little over here for work, and a little over here for things around the house, and a little over there for friends and family and all this other stuff, right? But what happens is, as I start to do that, I'm pouring a little each time, right? My cup starts to go down. So what do you need to do? You need to fill it back up. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. Stress also, after sleep, lowers a little bit. What happens for stress, it's like Jenga blocks. It slowly builds throughout the day, unless you're doing self-care or stress busters to take it down a notch. Take it down a notch. What happens with Jenga when it gets too high? It crumbles. It topples over. And so will you if you don't do some self-care and your stress gets out of control. You just don't have the mental capacity anymore to do anything, or this is where it can lead to depression or anxiety. So going back to to filling up your cup, right? So if I'm starting here and I just didn't get a good night's sleep, or my nutrition's been off, or I haven't had a chance to exercise. Exercise for me really fills up my cup. Now, this is how I'm starting my day. How much do I have to give to my kids, to give to my job, to give anywhere else? Maybe my job took it all. My productivity is now I'm depleted, right? I have nothing left to give, but I still have to be a mom or play many other roles in my life. I'm now going to be short tempered with my kids or just not in the mood to really do anything. You know, having the energy to do anything to give to somebody else will just seem exhausting. So you have to find ways to fill up your cup. And we're going to talk about how you do that right now because the goal, as I'm spilling water everywhere over here, is to always, by the end of the day and throughout the day, keep filling up your cup. So what is self-care? What does that look like? If this switches, let's see here. So, self-care is checking in with yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. It is for everyone. It's not just for somebody who's being selfish, like, oh, they just have time. They're lucky because they get to do this. No, everybody should be doing self-care. It's not because they're weak. It's not because they're emotional. It's the same. It doesn't look the same for everyone. What you need may be different than what I need. And what I need may be different than what you need. But that's why it's important for you to check in with yourself. Take care of yourself. Self-care, I love this one. Self-care quote, it's self-care is not self-indulgence. Self-care is self-respect. You're worth it to take care of yourself. I've come to believe that caring for myself is not self-indulgent. Caring for myself is an act of survival. It's so true. So, if you're not sold yet on self-care, let me tell you my 5 reasons why self-care is so important. One, it reduces negative effects of stress. I just told you all the reasons of why you want to do stress busters to prevent stress. It's just aging you. You want to stay healthy and you want to prevent illness. Those are big ones right now, right? You want to keep your, I always explain our immune system as little soldiers inside us. And there's a couple things that soldiers need. They need to be fed well, they need sleep, and they need to be calm enough that they can react quickly. So you need to eat well, you need to sleep, and you need to keep yourself calm enough to be able to fight off any illness that may come your way. Self-care improves your mood. I mean, for no other reason, take care of yourself so you're more likable by other people, that you're not taking out a bad meeting on your kids, on your husband, on whoever is around you. Stress can help you reduce burnout. Who just wants to throw their hands up and be like, forget it. I can't teach my kids. I'm not meant to homeschool. Forget it. I don't know how I'm going to work from home right now. Forget it. I don't have the space in me to clean this house or, make dinner tonight. Burnout. It happens. It really does. If we're not continually filling up our cup, we have nothing left to give. The bottom, the empty cup is burnout. Number 4, it promotes productivity and creativity. So for the people that tell me I don't have time to work out, well, because they have to work or do it, I'm like, you're being a better mom or you're doing a better job at work if you take care of yourself first, because you're going to go back and you're going to be so much more productive and so much more creative. Going for a walk, doing some deep breathing, doing something good for you, actually walking away from your computer and not doing email while you eat your lunch so you can be present and do some mindful eating. This will refresh you. It will fill up your cup a little bit and you can go back and I guarantee, try it. Just try it today. Try it. And instead of doing something that kind of makes you more exhausted, step away from it and do something good for yourself. Notice when you come back to it, how much more productive and creative you are. Number 5, self-care creates harmony in our body. Our bodies want to be cared for. You can't just keep beating it down and not giving it any time to rejuvenate. We need sleep. We need good nutrition. We need to move our bodies. We need to laugh and play. And I'm going to go over all these things in a second. Our bodies respond really well to that. It prevents illness. It creates longevity in our lives. It keeps us looking young and fun. There's a million reasons why you should create harmony in your body. But most of all, it just makes you feel good. Your self-esteem goes up, and just how you look at yourself, it just is good for you to do some self-care, showing yourself some love. So ways to reduce stress and promote self-care. Well, we're going to go over each of these. First, starting by adjusting expectations. 2, you're going to find that routine really helps us. Our bodies like routines. Finding balance in your life, good nutrition, good sleep, and then we're going to practice some stress busters. So let's start with adjust expectations. If you haven't seen Frozen, well, there's one theme to it. Let it go. Let it go. What you think should be happening may not be what reality is. So back in March and April, in my head, I was like, yes, I'm going to rock this teaching at home. My kids are going to be, getting really far ahead. It's going to be great. We'll have a routine. Da, da, da. Yeah, no. My son was not feeling it. He did really well in school, not feeling it with mom. That was my reality every day. Oh my gosh, are we almost done with this? Yeah. So there were different expectations. Adjusting your expectations. Stop comparing. Stop comparing to other people, and stop comparing to even maybe an old version of yourself. I used to get up so early. Okay, well, maybe circumstances are different. I used to do, okay, maybe things are a little different now. You are who you are right now. Live in the moment, be present. How things used to be done doesn't matter. Next thing I want you to do with expectations, it comes down to these to-do lists. Now, I asked you in the beginning about where do you fall on your list of, or your to-do list, if you were on there at all. But here's a little exercise I want you to do. I want you to take that to-do list again. Maybe you might have a couple more things you want to put on there. But I want you to think about this. I want you to pretend to hand me your to-do list, knowing that I have all the skills needed to do this to-do list, and that I am a really hard worker, and I'm going to work my butt off for you to get this to-do list done. So you give it to me at first thing in the morning, and you expect that the to-do list is done by the end of the day. Now, what happens if by the end of the day I come to you and I say, I'm really sorry. I tried my hardest. I was working nonstop. I just couldn't finish that list. I just simply couldn't do it. How mad are you going to be at me? If you said not really that mad, or, it's okay, I didn't expect it to be all done anyway. My question for you is, stop and do some self-reflection there. Is your expectations for yourself unrealistic? We are so much kinder to other people than we are to ourselves. Is your expectations for yourself a realistic expectation? If not, we need to adjust some expectations. Guys, put yourself at the top of your to-do list every single day, and everything else will work out. It will. If you don't keep filling up your cup, not just at the end of every day, although that's nice, but even throughout the day, keep filling it up. You are able to give more. When you put more into you, you're able to give more back. Think of it that way. You're not being selfish. You're actually being a better version of yourself if you do self-care. And you just need to tell people that I'm not being selfish right now by, going for a walk or getting my workout in at lunch, or, doing whatever you need to do, taking 5 minutes for yourself to breathe, to just sit and be present with yourself, to make yourself a really fun meal. You're not being selfish. You can tell people I'm going to be a better mom by doing this. I'm going to be a better friend by doing this. I'm going to be better at my job because I've done some self-care. I'm making it so, those sick days that I have, I'm not going to be using them because I don't need to. I've done so much self-care that my immune system is ready to go. And I'm super creative and super productive because I've taken time to do some self-care. I will tell you right now, for myself, when I do my workouts, when I'm not teaching, but just in my head, just doing my own workouts, maybe a run or a swim or whatever, even just like lifting, I have some of my best ideas because I've done some self care. I also, and it's usually around work or something like that. The other place is when I take a nice hot shower. It's my own personal space. Again, I have two small children. It's hard to find quiet time. But like a hot shower, the light bulb just keeps going ring, ring, ring. Like my cup is being filled up, and all of a sudden I have these creative juices of, wow, I could do this, and things just little random puzzle pieces start to make sense because I'm filling up my cup. Now, one way that can help you find the time to fill up your cup is to create routines. Routines, you want to be thinking about three basic routines. A morning routine, what does your morning look like? Train your body so it knows what to expect. It knows when it's going to bed, it knows when it's waking up, and it knows when it's going to be eating in the middle of the day, and it knows that it's going to be getting a chance to move around like it needs to. So you need a morning routine, you want a bedtime routine, and you want either work, school, or whatever fits in the middle of your day. A general idea. No, your days don't have to look cookie cutter, but starting to train your body can help you in a lot of different ways. It can reduce stress. It improves relaxation because you're not always thinking, okay, what's coming next? What's coming next? It instills good habits. Yes, good habits. Think about that for a second. It increases efficiency and skills. It increases self-confidence. If you do something over and over and over and over again, you're bound to get pretty good at it. The first time I did some of these webinars, I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do any of this. And now I'm doing them and I'm like, okay, I got this. I got this. I can do it. When new things can tend to be a little bit scary, it doesn't mean that they're not fun, but we don't have the same kind of confidence we do after we do it multiple times. And it can be a time saver. If you're not always trying to figure out, okay, what am I doing next? You have a routine, you have a plan. Today, my work routine, from here to here, I'm going to start my day checking emails. I'm going to look at my client list. I'm going to record videos or whatever your day looks like. Start to plan it out a little bit. Have chunks of time where you know you can get certain things done. You'll be way more productive and you can prioritize things way easier. Another big thing, guys, is finding balance. Balance in your life it's so key. And I just thought this elephant on a ball was ridiculously cute. But work and life balance, right? Ask yourself this: do you live to work or work to live? Think about that. Do you live to work or work to live? A lot of people in the United States specifically, they live to work. Work is their identity, and there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of other cultures, they work to live. They make enough money so then they can go live and do stuff, travel the world, do whatever they need to do. And there has to be some kind of balance. How do you find balance? Well, especially if you're one of those people who are working from home right now, I'm going to encourage you to really think about this, the setting boundaries and transitions. It's important whether you're in the office or not to set boundaries. These are my work hours. If you don't have an end point to your day, you will always be going on. When do you have time for the self-care? Where do you have time to do the things that you really enjoy doing? Or just the things that you have to do? Or family time or whatever. So you have to set some boundaries. I encourage a lot of my clients too when I'm talking to them. I always tell them, it's okay to even in your job say, if you had set your work schedule, I'm in my email time right now. Those people that pop by, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do this for me? No, I'm sorry. I can't right now. I even have clients practice three phrases to gently say to people if they're not very good at this, to gently say like, bye, schedule an appointment with me, send me an email so we can get, I want to work with you, but not right now. Set boundaries. It's okay. The more you say no, the better off you understand what you need to do. Saying yes to a bunch of little things and then feeling like you're pulled in a lot of different areas, you're bound to not do any of it very well. So setting boundaries is really good. Transitions is also really big. So right now, for people who are working from home, there's been a lot of questions to me. Jess, I don't know how to turn it off because I'm working from my bedroom or I'm working from my house. As soon as smartphones were made and there was 24-hour access to our emails, the workday never really stopped. You're okay. I'm just going to check my email one more time. Oh, wait, that you did get an email. It keeps going and you can spiral. No. And for us working at home, right? Like right now, I am health coaching Jessie. And as soon as I walk out that door, I am mom and I'm cleaning the house and I got my neighbors asking me for like, so there's a transition period here. I'm thinking about work stuff here. I'm in like the moment right here. How do I transition into that? Especially if I get like, I have a lot of great conversations with people, and sometimes I'm really thinking about those, or there's some problem that I want to help them. I'm thinking about that stuff. And so sometimes it's hard to transition right back. And sometimes some of you might have hard meetings or just really tough days. How do you transition? Well, create a transition. It used to be maybe you driving home from work, and now you don't have that. And or maybe it's that you would take that walk from your office through the building or whatever to leave. That could have been your transition. Recreate something for yourself. Recreate something. Listen to a quick podcast. Go for a quick walk. Just walk out the door and say, I'll be back in 5, and come back. So you had that time to transition. Thinking about how you can stop one mindset. Maybe you need to journal a little bit so you can pick up the next day, right? These are the things I'm still thinking for today. You know it's at least written down so you can pick right back up where you left off the day before. There's lots of ways to transitions, and that's what I help a lot of my clients with, setting boundaries and transitions. Now, another big component is good nutrition. Food is your fuel. It fuels your body. So, how do you want your engine to run? Do you want to it's just like a car. You wouldn't put bad gas in a car. So, why would you do that to yourself? Eating healthy foods. Foods can actually play a huge role in our bodies, not just to look good, but the insides. It helps us sleep. It helps our improve our mood. It helps with inflammation in our bodies. There's a lot of different reasons you need to think about good nutrition. Specifically, happy foods when we're talking about stress. Foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids. You want real whole foods, not artificial stuff. If you look at a package and it has more than 10 ingredients on it and a bunch of words you don't know how to pronounce, it's probably artificial and you want to be steering clear of that. You want foods rich in antioxidants, high in protein and fiber, complex carbs versus simple carbs. If you're not sure what any of that stuff is, call me. We can have a great conversation about all of it. Here are some examples, though, of foods that you can check out: eggs, blueberries, fruits, high fiber cereals, nut butters, salads, yogurt, salmon, all foods that will make your body happy. The other part of this is sleep. I told you there's balance here, right? So I'm going to get to all of it, but sleep is another one. Good nutrition helps you sleep better. Exercise helps you sleep better. Thinking about quality of sleep and quantity of sleep. You might be an awesome sleeper, but only get 4 or 5 hours of sleep. That is not enough to fill up your cup. Or you might be able to lay in bed for 10 hours, but you're tossing and turning and you can't turn off your brain and the quality of your sleep is awful. Again, you're not filling up your cup. Ambience can make a big difference. Stress busters can help with getting better sleep. Prepping your body just to, again, training your brain. Okay, if I do this and this, then I know I'm going to get to go to sleep next. Creating that routine. I have a whole other webinar on just steps to better sleep and what that looks like. And I get into all this in further detail. If you want more information, please let me know. Another thing is stress busters. So we're going to go over all of these right now. First, you need to check in with yourself. Be present. Focus your energy. Move your body. Connect with others and ultimately have fun. So, what does it mean to be present? Well, I do this a lot with people. I like them to practice just a quick 5 senses check in. So, for a second, wherever you are, close your eyes. Take a nice deep inhale. What do you smell? Now listen. What do you hear? What do you taste? What do you feel? Are you warm? Are you cold? Are you bloated? Are you gassy? Are you comfortable? Are you tight? Are you stiff? What do you feel? Now open your eyes and take a look around. Besides me looking at you right now, what do you see? A 5 senses check can really help you understand where certain stresses are coming from. Sometimes when I'm talking to clients, we'll do this practice just to take a moment, and I'll ask them the same question I'll ask you. How often do you just pause and do a 5 senses check? To totally be present in the moment and really enjoy everything about your senses. Probably not as often as you should. So I challenge you to try it. Try it once a day. But when you're looking around or you're smelling things, maybe there's like a funky smell that you smell and you're like, oh, it really bothers me. But you don't have time to figure out where it's coming from. But it's stressing you out. You're adding a layer of stress. Or you have a pile of stuff that you just, you're going to get to sometime. But every time you see it, it adds another layer of stress. And I ask people, why not just take care of it? And I have to do this for myself too, because we have stuff around. And honestly, as soon as I clean stuff up, I feel a bajillion times better. So instead of letting my stress keep building and building and building, I take the 5 seconds it takes to clean that pile. I, clean something up. I do something. If I feel like it's uncomfortable, hot, or stuffy, go cool off, go for a walk, go get a breath of fresh air, change something. You in the moment, take care of it. That's filling up your cup just a little bit. And that pays off with big rewards in the end. Posture check. Every time you do a posture check, you're helping yourself out. Reframing your thoughts onto happy thoughts. We get stuck on negative thoughts and it does nothing for us. So hang on, I'm stopping sharing again. Sorry. There we go. So reframing on positive thoughts. I want to give you this analogy. Think about a garden, okay? And imagine that you plant a weed. A weed is equivalent to a bad thought. Now you water that weed. What happens to it? It gets bigger and it spreads, right? Okay. Now, picture this. Picture you have that garden and you plant a beautiful flower seed. You water it, the sun shines on it. What happens to it? It grows into this beautiful flower, right? And the seeds spread, and now you have a beautiful garden of beautiful flowers. And you water that and you water that. That's equivalent to a positive thought. The garden is your brain, okay? So if in your brain you plant a negative seed, a negative thought, a weed, it will spread. But if you plant a positive thought, the positive thought will spread and it will make it so those flowers grow so big that there's no light, no water that can get down to those weeds. They go away. It is the equivalent of your stress hormones. Those are those negative thoughts, those negative feelings. The negativity goes down. The negative or the stress hormones go down. Your happy hormones go up. This is a really good equation if you are looking to lose weight or just feel better, fill up your cup. Something else that can be really helpful are daily affirmations. So just saying, I am statements, something positive about yourself. I am strong. I am positive. I am powerful. Positive mind, positive vibe, positive life. Daily affirmations can really help you retrain your brain. Just being present and thinking these specific things, you can retrain your brain. Journaling is another great way to be present. I have people do written journals all the time, but another really impactful type of journaling is electronic journaling. On your phone, you most likely have a memo, a voice memo app. And I like people to use these, not a camera, but a voice memo app, and talk to it. Talk to it as if you're talking to one of your best friends. I mean, you know those conversations where you have with your friends and they're just venting to you and you're really supportive to them. And things also seem a lot more obvious to you than it does them because you're not living it. You're like, oh, they should maybe try this or that. Well, after you record yourself just talking, venting, thinking, go back and listen to yourself as if you are the friend. Turn on that friend ear and listen to yourself. What are you so stressed about? Will you be stressed about it in a year from now? How can you deal with the situation? How can you reframe onto happy thoughts instead of negative thoughts if you're spiraling with just negative thoughts? Talk to yourself as if you are a friend. It's very, very helpful because it takes us from outside of just living in our mind where sometimes things just don't make sense and pulling us out to that 10,000-foot view and looking at ourselves and being like, oh, that's what I should be doing to help myself calm down, to be more present. Listen, I love this quote for being present. Wherever you are, be all there. This is how you don't spread yourself too thin. You're just really being the best at what you can in that moment. If it's time for self-care, be all there. Don't tell yourself you're going to a spa to relax and then think about all the things you need to do. It ruins your massage. I have news for you. I've done it myself. It's not helpful. But the other thing is, you know, if you're with your kids, be present with your kids. It'll fill up your cup. If you're doing work, turn off everything else, the stuff that still needs to be done at home or whatever else. Turn it off and just think about wherever you are, just be all there. Where to focus your energy. These are two of my favorite quotes as well. One of them was a commonality among centenarians, if I can say that correctly. And people are over 100. There we go. And it is, if you can't change it, don't worry about it. I know it seems so simple. This is like such a simple thought, but this is huge. We worry about so much stuff that we have absolutely no control over. So if you can't change it, don't worry about it. And the other one that's closely related by Dr. Sears, he says, you can't always control the circumstances, but you can control your reaction to them, right? Somebody says something, you can go two ways. There's the V. You can get fired up about it, or you can brush it off. You can plant a positive seed, or you can plant that weed. Which one will you do, the flower or the weed? You have a choice. That is how you control your reaction to it. Another great stress buster is just moving your body. As you move your body, you create happy hormones. If you can, go outside. The health benefits go up. You may consider doing some movement throughout your day. If you're at school or work, create moving meetings when you're talking to people. See if you can throw on an earbud, go walking. If you're physically together, hey, can we talk about this while we walk? I guarantee you'll be way more productive on your conversation. Here are just some suggestions of things that you can do if you are working out from your job. Now, this is the last thing that I really want to practice with you guys. Thinking about your breath. There's a lot of different apps and ways that you can do breath work. One of the ways that I really like to practice is busy brain breathing. So we'll do that right now. I want you to sit at the edge of your chair or wherever you are right now and get your hands ready. So what you're going to do is you're going to be tapping your fingers, your thumb to your pointer, middle finger to thumb, your ring finger, and then your pinky to thumb. I'm going to be saying inhale, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to go backwards. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. I'll be giving you those cues. Now, you're going to be using your fingers as a metronome to keep the beat. I will cue you right now that I will say inhale with the numbers, exhale with the numbers, and then I'm going to stop saying, I'll say inhale without the numbers and exhale without the numbers. And then I'm going to stop saying everything all together. I want you to keep breathing. Okay? Simple as that. Let's go. My hair's all over the place right now. Here we go. Inhale through, oh, sorry, I should have said this. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Now let's go. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, stop. How do you feel? More importantly, what were you thinking about? I love this practice because I used to practice this in the hospital. I worked with kids in the hospital setting who were thinking about surgeries or their new diagnosis. I would do this with their families as well, and they would have a really hard time falling asleep. Go figure. They have a lot of stuff whirling through their mind. A thought would come in, it would stick, and they just couldn't get it out of their heads. Now, when you do busy brain breathing, a thought might come in. It sits here for a second, but it goes out with that breath. You're focused on the counting, you're focused on the breathing, you're connecting that breath in mind. I call it busy brain breathing because it quiets your mind. This is a fantastic practice to use right before you go to bed or before you have a big presentation or you just came out of a stressful meeting or your kids are pushing your buttons and you just need a minute in the bathroom to calm down so you don't scream at them. Whatever it is. This doesn't take very long to practice, but it has super powerful impact on you. Last but not least, my biggest tip, have fun. Guys, life is short. Enjoy it. Laugh, play, dance, and smile. My name is Dr. Jessie Biondi. I really appreciate your time for joining me today. If you have any questions, here is my contact information. I would love to hear if you practice any of these techniques and how you are doing. And until I talk to you again, be present, be inspired, be more.